That's right. That's right. Dinosaur lists are passé. That's right. It's time for Jeffervescence, folks. We're going to push ourselves. WWJGD. What would Jeff Goldblum do? He would be Jeffervescent. All right. So make sure you are not in your People Factory folder. Do not make this new project inside People Factory. All right. Get back to your bootcamp folder. If you were already in People Factory, how would you get back out of there? CD what? Dot dot for the parent directory. Here we are. Extreme Bootcamp. If you ever forget what directory you're in and you don't have a prompt that shows it, you probably do have a prompt that shows you what directory you're in, but PWD, print working directory, will always show you where you are. So get to the right place. And let's mookadur. Jeffervescence. Don't forget to change into that. I'm going to type JEF tab, so I don't have to type all that, and so I don't misspell it. And then we're going to create a new Git repository. So I'm really emphasizing the changing of directories here because you do not want to create a Git repository in your home directory that has your documents folder and everything else. You do not want that in Git. So let's just double check before we hit ls. Before we run git init, let's hit an ls. Make sure there's nothing already in there. Okay, good. There isn't. Yeah, Alex.
Why would it say permission denied when I try to
Yeah, the directory you're in, we'll mess with that in just a second. Let's do this real let's do this real quick. Let's run git init dot. Now we have an empty Git repository. So that it's not completely empty, we'll go ahead and create a Readme. Go ahead and type code space dot to open this up in Visual Studio Code. And let's create a new file. We will call it all caps readme.md, lowercase md. Do be mindful of your capitalization in file names, folks. Unix is case sensitive, and that's probably where this is going to get deployed someday. So we'll put the readme in all caps, but everything else we're going to leave all lowercase until we get to React. Okay. And inside readme, I'm just going to put hash space Jeffervescence. Now what's with this hash? What's going on here? So this is a Markdown file. Markdown is a plain text format that can be easily translated into HTML while remaining a lot more human readable than HTML is with all those tags everywhere. It's really hard to actually pick out the content. So super brief Markdown tutorial. That's an H1. This is an H2. I'm not going to necessarily leave this in here, but if I put some text in here with line breaks above and below it, that's a paragraph. Hey, in plain text, this looks like a paragraph too, doesn't it? So it just takes the way you might naturally type these things, and these hashes kind of make these stand out as you're scanning through it. What about a list? This is a bulleted list. Great. Easy. So I'm just going to leave the one line in there for now. And let's go ahead and commit this. First, do a git status just to check ourselves. Okay, we're on the initial commit. There's just one untracked file, the readme. I'm just making sure that I'm not accidentally adding like a zillion files here because I'm doing it in the wrong directory. Git add dot. git commit, put in a message. I'm just going to call it initial commit. Now we actually have a Git repository in this directory. If I type git log, I'll see that one commit. Q to get out of that. Now let's go to GitHub. New repository. Repository name. Jeffervescence. Don't add a readme, we already have one. Let's make this empty. Create repository. Since we already have a repository on the command line, we'll follow these instructions, push an existing repository from the command line. And by the way, if you've been selecting this with your cursor and copying and pasting, you do run the risk of not selecting quite what you think you are. So use this little handy copy to clipboard button they gave you. Ditto if you're copying and pasting things from the class website, like in the instructions. You may have noticed we used this trick too. And failure to do that could lead you to making one of your config files wrong and screwing everything up. So these two commands again, git remote add. We're adding a remote to our repository because right now our repository, although complete, lives entirely on our machine. So we're adding a remote, and then we are pushing to that remote. You have to specify the branch when we do that, but the -u makes it so that it will use that branch from now on if we just say git push. If all is well, we can refresh this page on GitHub, and behold, here we are with our little Markdown file. All right, we've created a new repository.